Good morning, CCC. My name's Harlan.
I'm John.
And we're the Canyons Creative Cast. So, John, you want to give yourself a little introduction?
Yeah, sure. I'm John. I'm a film major who wants to be a director. I work at Regal. In the CCC, I am actually the film lead.
Awesome. And I'm his co-host, Harlan. I am currently the founder and club president of the Canyons Creative Club. And for those of you who are listening and don't know who we are, the Canyons Creative Club acts as a hub for creative minds at College of the Canyons to come together and create. We help students realize their dreams, improve their skills, and provide a community of like-minded individuals.
Through stuff like group projects, workshops, and events, the Canyons Creative Club provides a rich community of thriving artists that are able to work on their creative endeavors together.
The Canyons Creative Club. Come, create, community.
All right.
So, John, it was the first week of school.
Yep.
How was that for you?
It was all right. My screenwriting class was canceled, but we were able to watch the first day, I guess. It was just an intro to screenwriting. And then I am not currently in the storyboarding class, but that was canceled due to the President's Day weekend, which also was bundled up with Friday. So I'm going to go next week and try to get off the wait list and be registered into that class.
I'm sorry to hear about your class getting canceled, John. I definitely feel you, though. You know, first week of school, coming back, everyone's kind of rushing around to get in their classes. I was the same way. I was actually supposed to take, I think, 3 different music classes, and I had to cancel all of them.
Jeez.
Because of prerequisites. Yeah, and, overlapping classes. But, I'm a visual artist by trade. Also, a little extended introduction. I'm also an animator. At least my major at College of the Canyons is animation production. I'm currently graduating in the spring of 2025, so pretty soon, coming up. But yeah, I've been a visual artist almost my whole life. My parents are both musicians, so I was thinking, maybe I'll give music a try this semester. Maybe we can make some songs, at least get in the mindset to help people out with audio work. But for this week at least, and for this semester, it looks like we're going to have to put that on the back burner, which is unfortunate, but, it happens.
Yeah, of course.
So, the world around us, John. Mm-hmm. The world. It's changed.
Yeah,
changing.
It has.
Yeah. Some things that happened while we were on winter break, Castaic kind of caught on fire. More on that later. But for you, were you affected by that at all?
No, but I was worried about some of my friends. Some of the people in the CCC were affected by the fires, and I was just worried about them and their safety.
Yeah, it was a huge thing. Just really quickly, letting you guys know about some future upcoming events. We got a few here. We have, first and foremost, the Kansai Introduction event on January 18th. For those of you who are interested, it's going to be in the ICC from 2:45 to 4 p.m. And it will introduce students to the Kansai Foreign Exchange Program in Japan, where you'll be able to go and study under one of the given majors for a full semester. Is that something you'd be interested in, John?
I don't know. I am Japanese or part Japanese, so maybe I can, get connected to that part of my heritage. So maybe. But my dad was also born in Hawaii, so I guess I wouldn't be too connected to it. But maybe to a certain extent, my cherry blossoms will be blossoming. Who knows?
Yeah. I love Hawaii, John. Beautiful country.
Mm-hmm.
Or guys, I guess state, not a country. But I guess if you think about it, it's like its own. It's surrounded by water, so in that way, I guess most islands are kind of like
just like Japan,
because they're just like Japan is its own country. Yeah, one of my favorite parts about going to Hawaii is
Yeah.
the time goes back a couple hours, right?
Hmm.
So if your sleep schedule is super messed up, you get to reset a little bit, and you're there, and you're sleeping at 10 p.m. when you should be sleeping at midnight, or sleeping at midnight when you should be sleeping at 2, and then you get to come back, and you're like, you know what? I think I will sleep at 10 p.m. and it's not that hard.
Yep.
Yeah. How's your sleep schedule been, by the way, buddy?
Oh, put me on the spot here.
Yeah.
It depends. The day before Valentine's Day, I did not sleep that much. So,
Oh.
yeah, but
Were you excited for something on Valentine's Day, John, or are you just restless?
I was actually
Restless in Seattle.
I actually just got done watching Captain America: Brave New World, so that was the reason I was up.
Oh, really?
I had a screening at Regal.
Wow.
As an employee.
How was that?
It was nice. I was
Without
sitting-
any spoilers.
Oh, of
Yeah.
course. I was just sitting next to my boy Kyle, and that was fun. Yes, Captain America: Brave New World. That was that was funny. I was about to say great. It was an okay movie, in my opinion. It was very fast paced, surprisingly. And I didn't feel like they wasted my time, but at the same time, I wish they, paced things a little bit differently so that, things were more impactful. I saw the Red Hulk for a little bit longer, but I'm not going to go into that because I don't want to spoil. But people know the Red Hulk's in it. So
I see.
there were some things like character development that they could have done, like an arc that they could have done just to make things feel a little bit more impactful and important, but they didn't do that. So yeah, I just wish that they were able to pace things differently and make things feel more meaningful than they did.
Yeah. No, it's always a shame when a A-list movie rushes through stuff. They have the budget, they have the cast, they have all the pieces of the puzzle, right? But they're, I don't know what happens. I don't know what's really going through their heads where they take unnecessary losses for things and they don't really focus on, I don't know, there's this beautiful saying, when you give a moment time, it gives it beauty. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
When you really, it's an animation term, but essentially, the longer you draw something out, the more intricate it becomes. And something. It's kind of like. Did you ever see The Green Knight? You see that movie?
No, I did not. Was it good?
Oh, it was all right. There's a few very interesting. It's a beautifully cinematic film. People have a lot of complaints about one specific shot in it, and it's because it lasts for like 2 minutes, and it's just entirely too long. And that's an example of this done wrong, right? But then you have something like, I'm assuming you have something like Captain America, Brave New World come out, and they're just rushing from point A to point B, to point C. Maybe they're just rushing from point A to point C, right? And they're not really spending a whole lot of time on trying to make these drawn out moments, not necessarily drawn out, but rightly timed. And I mean, that's the art, right? It's huge. It's actually something we're going to be covering later on in the semester. If you look at our schedule, we're going to have a full week, or actually possibly even 2, where we talk about proper timing and pacing. So, more on that later on. But, yeah, it's something that I feel like people could really benefit from. But, I mean, we all could, right? Like, we're only human. We can't get everything right, but it's just big productions. I don't know. It's been a long time since I've seen a film that feels properly paced out.
Yeah. No, I agree.
What are some of your favorite movies, John?
I'd say my top three from descending order would be Jaws, No Country for Old Men, and then finally, as my favorite, Parasite, which actually, Harlan, I did watch that recently in IMAX, and that was really good. It was last Sunday.
Oh, you did?
Yes.
You know, that's a really good example of a really well-paced movie.
Yes, it is a well-paced movie, and it was awesome to watch in IMAX because I've only watched it at home before, and it was really nice to see it in IMAX. And weirdly enough, Harlan, it was an empty theater. No one was in there. It was just me, and it was very nice.
No. Really?
Yeah, no one was in there, but...
I mean, that is nice. I will say an empty theater is cool. You know, you got your space. You do whatever you want in there.
Yeah.
Not to say you should do anything weird. I'm just saying you could. Like with this one time, I was in an empty theater with some friends and we started doing cartwheels throughout the movie because nobody could stop us.
I mean, if that's what you want to call it,
I would. I would like to say that's cool and fun and not weird. Not weird at all. Very normal, in fact.
Yes.
But that's cool. You know, there's a difference between seeing movies over in the silver screen with the and being able to really appreciate that. You know, something that we're going to be doing later on in the semester. Unfortunately, we're not able to this last week because of Valentine's Day and President's Day closing up the school. But we book out Mentry 305, which for those of you who don't know is a kind of movie theater classroom on the third floor of Mentry Hall. And John here hosts our weekly movie night, where our club members are able to come and other people, invite people, and you know, we got popcorn, we got drinks, and they're able to come and watch one of the movies that we voted on throughout the week.
Yeah, exactly. Can I talk about the one we had recently?
Yeah, absolutely, John.
Yeah. Unfortunately, we were not able to do it in person. We had to do it on Discord. But the list consisted of one of our Artist 12 members, Dean. It was their birthday, and they selected 7 films for us to pick from, us to vote from. And we ended up picking Edward Scissorhands, and that was a good watch.
Yeah, I mean, it didn't get my vote, but I was definitely happy to see the community reaction from the vote for Edward Scissorhands. You know, I gotta say, a lot of those movies on that list are pretty fire. And, you know, speaking of fire, Valentine's Day and the Castaic fires. So, John, you were talking earlier about Valentine's Day. You were doing something that day, right? What were you doing?
I had a Valentine, and we do live far away from each other, but we were able to call and have lunch together and watch a little bit of Arcane. We ended up going to sleep together on call, and yeah, it was a nice Valentine's Day overall. That was also the day we had the movie.
Nice Valentine, even.
Yes, it was a very good cool. Valentine. That's a good one. Yep.
So there's Arcane, amazing animation. My dream company to work at has always been Riot Games, and Studio Fortiche did an amazing job on that show.
Oh yeah.
But you know, a lot of people were really affected by the fires earlier this year. And as a little PSA for people, or I guess not a PSA, but you know, just a public announcement, a PA, I guess.
Yeah, he laughs at himself a lot. By
Hollywood is animation industry leaders unite for Anim-Aid. They are currently doing a fire relief fundraising campaign that'll be raising $5 million in support of over 60 families, where they will be auctioning away some Sotheby's Will featured artwork. There's just they're essentially it's a setup for people who are in the animation industry, who were how their houses and homes were lost in the fires. And I got to tell you, John, those fires were crazy, man. I mean, we were completely overrun, almost no chance of putting a lot of them out. Especially when they were burning to their full degree, the Palisades. I mean, completely burned down. I still haven't had a chance to go and see that. Have you?
No, I have not, and I think it will definitely be saddening when I see that.
Yeah, I mean, my heart and prayers and soul goes out to those people who are being affected. It's really great that the animation industry is doing their part for their people. $5 million is a lot of money, but 60 families, split a few ways. It's going to be really hard because 60 families, in the larger scope of all the people who are living in the Palisades is not a lot. So, love, heart, prayer, and souls go out to those people who are being affected. I didn't get a chance to go to the Palisades either, John, but I did on Valentine's Day. I personally did not have a Valentine. I'm not exactly a looker or a player like you, John.
Hey, guys,
you're just
in the
too
comments,
good with the lead. Hey,
in the comments, guys, say how much you would have a good time with Harlan if you could. Would you be his Valentine? Because come on, bro.
No.
Casanova right there.
Nah. I'm just here to be here with you, John, and to have a nice little conversation and to make sure that people have a good place to hang out on Wednesdays, right? But what I did get was I got to hang out with some friends. We had breakfast. It was, as you know, it was Dean's birthday on Valentine's Day. Happy birthday to Dean.
Happy birthday, Dean.
Well, afterwards, Anthony, another one of our Artist 12 members, and I took it upon ourselves to hike on up to the water tower, just at the very top of the Castaic Hills, and I wanted to see that and the church right next to it, because a coworker of mine had told me that something very interesting had happened at that church, and we got lots of pictures. I hope that we're able to put them on screen as I go through the story. But I will tell you, John, it was burnt.
Oh.
And I don't mean burnt like, the movie. I mean burnt like every single inch of ground was charred. The sides of the railings, the melted metal, there was just almost every inch of ground was completely burnt to the ground. I hadn't seen anything like that as far as just getting to walk around in it. And for those of you who live in Castaic, you know that the water tower is pretty high up the mountain, and you can't drive up there right now. So it took us about an hour and a half roughly to walk up there. We did some shenanigans. We actually walked up one of the hills just vertically, because it looked like fun. Then we actually came up from there to the airstrip, which was a bit of a shock because, we were got to the top of this mountain. We thought that it was just going to be wild and uncharted territory, but actually it was a bunch of benches and a place to fly model planes, which I've always wanted to do some drone flying over there. At least my dad has. John, do you like flying drones and stuff? Do you do that?
I don't do it that much. I did get a drone one time for Christmas, but it was one of those tiny plastic ones from a family member, and I would like to get a bigger one just so that, I can record great footage, maybe even 4K footage, and just get some of those aerial shots that I've always wanted to get for a movie. So, I haven't done that much or that many drone takeoffs, but I hope to.
Yeah, we should do a drone day, John. I have some nice drones. We can go fly those. Actually, on our way up, we found a completely charred and broken up drone that maybe somebody was flying through the fires as the fires were happening, and it went down in the smoke. but it was just completely melted. It was kind of crazy, and that was just
Yeah.
kind of the whole mountain, man. I mean, when we finally did get up to the top, again, an hour and a half later, and that view was just absolutely stunning, but also humbling. You know, I'm a Christian. I believe in God, and I will say that that just. So there's a second part of the story. We went to the water tower, and again, every single mountain you could see was completely burned down. Right, nothing but black for miles, as far as your eye can see. Like you set, if it was Minecraft, you set your render distance up to max, and all you see is black. Right, and right across the street, for those of you who know, there's a church. And the perimeter around that church, and Anthony, he doesn't believe in God. He's an atheist, and even he was completely shocked by this. There was a strong line, almost just actually it was crisp around the church, and there was no firefighters that were able to go up there and protect it. It was just there, just this fine line. And again, you look all around, and there's completely like miles and miles of just burnt down everything. I mean, trees were burnt down, roads were burnt down, everything. Rocks were cracked and burnt up. But that church was kept safe, so I think that's beautiful, and hopefully we got some pictures up for you guys to see what I'm talking about, because that was something that I really wanted to go up there and check out. That was so yeah. For those of you affected by the Castaic fires, I am extremely sorry. I don't think anybody lost their homes. I don't think it made it that far, but everybody had to evacuate, and it was really scary. And so, yeah, definitely just a testament to to man's ability to create, and also our ability. Like, it's so weird, Both of the fires are right next to large bodies of water, John. Isn't that weird?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I can't imagine what that must have felt like, seeing your house burn down one place and right next to that's the ocean. Must have felt pretty sad. But, you know, I hate to. I feel like I'm kind of bringing the mood down a little bit.
A little bit.
So we'll have to wrap this up with something interesting, something funny. But unfortunately, I do have another kind of serious topic to breach. And it's one that actually weighs heavily on my heart personally. For those of you who saw on the news, a student of CalArts was killed on February 4th. Their name was Menquan Zhang, otherwise known as Emily King. And she was a personal friend of mine. I knew Emily from before I went to College of the Canyons. She pushed me around on my wheelchair when I had broken my legs. And she was a friend. And a very sweet person. She was on the spectrum, so she was extremely kind and just such a spirit. She was also another close friend of mine's dorm mate, Eugenia. And I actually didn't realize it was her until I was halfway through a class and I had to use the bathroom and I stepped out for a second and I was just looking through Instagram and I saw my friend's stories and people kept on posting pictures of her. And I thought that, she's popular. People know about her and people know her, but then the two dots connected. And John, you've lost people, right? You've had family and stuff.
Yes.
Yes. So you understand grief is a weird one.
Yes.
It's somber. It's painful. But I'm gonna tell you, honestly, knowing somebody who was killed, affectionately murdered, she was beaten. She was found. I found out recently she was found alive, but died fairly after being taken into the hospital. It sickens me, and it's extremely sad to see in a student body. If it happened at COC, I hope that we'd all be mourning together. And that's what CalArts is doing too. They're mourning. If you go to the school now, you'll notice the mood's kind of down. And again, I don't want to bring this is the creators cast. There's got to be some light to the situation, and there is. So stay tuned for that. But just very quickly, Emily was an artist and a creative, and she made the school spirit bright. And she stood as a pillar for people who are on the spectrum to be their authentic self, no matter who or what they wanted to be. She came from mainland China, but she came from a very oppressed place, from what I'd heard from her friends. And she came here to live as authentically and as happily as she possibly could. And the fact that someone could take that authentic and happy life that she lived and end it is just... it's really hard to believe. Mm-hmm. And so for those of you listening who either knew her or, want to know more, at the very least, I hope that you all remember this about Emily, or Menguan Zhang, or probably butchering the pronunciation. I have been out of the Asian American community for a second, but she cared.
Yeah.
She cared about what she did. She cared about the people around her. She didn't know me when she pushed me around in that wheelchair, John. She didn't. That was the first day we met. She pushed me all around school. And I'll tell you, the guy who was pushing me around before she got there, my other friend, he got tired after like an hour of it. And she did it for like 4 without saying anything. She just happily did it. And yeah. And so what I like to get out of this is we should all care just a little bit more about ourselves, about our neighbors, about our friends, about our peers, about what we create and how what we create affects the world. Because her artwork is going to go on to auction, and I'm sure it's going to change people's lives, because no one dies for nothing. And Emily did not die for her soul to be forgotten, because we're all going to remember her. I mean, everybody that met her remembers her, and I'm sure people listening, I hope you will too. But at the very least, please remember, stay safe. Alright? Stay vigilant. Santa Clarita is a very, very safe community. We shouldn't be dealing with stuff like this, but things happen. Mm-hmm. And we just gotta remember to take care of each other, protect our friends and family and our lives, because we're worth it.
Yes.
Because caring is good.
Oh, caring starts with the C.
So on that note, hey, doesn't it?
Yep.
And, cougars care. So, thank you all. Sorry for the little tangent over to that. Valentine's Day was amazing. Outside of the, the mourning process I personally was going through.
Yeah.
Absolutely beautiful day out, wasn't it, John?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we had so much rain and storming happening for, weeks on, or not weeks on end, but it's been a little while of just insanely tremendous weather, and stuff finally started to clear up on Valentine's Day. I personally went on a nice long walk in the park, watched the sunset all by myself, played some music, read a book. Life can be good when you care about those moments.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right.
So yeah, what movies are you looking forward to seeing in the future? By the way, John, got anything? As you work at Regal, you got the insider look. You get to see things a little before people, before the rest of the world gets to know about it. What movies are you gonna hint at for the rest of us normies?
Mickey 17 and Fantastic Four.
Mickey 17.
Yeah.
Say that again.
Mickey 17 and Fantastic
Mickey
Four.
17. What's that about?
Mickey 17 is about a guy who's played by Robert Pattinson, and he is a part of this program where he will get cloned after he dies, but he is going out for the government to, be basically a test subject for these different environments, surroundings, deal with the wildlife, and then, basically he's just a test dummy. So once he dies, then they learn a little bit more. But, yeah.
Well, that sounds really cool. Actually, I think I did hear a little bit about that movie. So tell me something, John. Would you clone yourself, or would you not clone yourself? Would you participate or no?
I would clone myself, but I'm not going to explain the reasons here on this podcast. I was told to keep
Okay,
it
John.
keep it on the down low.
Yeah. Keep it PG.
Sadly.
Well, yeah, more on that on John's private podcast if you're looking for something a little more freaky.
Yeah.
Yeah. I am looking forward to watching The Companion. I don't know a whole lot about it, but it looks interesting.
Ooh.
And that's all I know. Have you seen it, John?
I have seen it, and I did tell Harlan if I get a dinner, maybe I'll take him to it.
Well, I don't know about dinner, John, but I'm definitely looking forward to watching that movie. Let's see. Well, everybody, news as far as this next week goes. Oh, yeah, one last thing. For those of you who are animators, the Brick Foundation is hosting a summit for people to come in person. It's in March, so we got some time, and we're going to be talking about it at this week's meeting. For next week's podcast, we're going to have our special host, Dean, on. We're a little bit behind, so this is Dean's birthday, Valentine's Day podcast. So we're going to talk about some poetry and, Dean's birthday, how that went, and more on Channel 4. And Scooby-Doo on Channel 2. You know what's on Channel 9, John? You know what that is?
What is that?
I have it here on my notes. On Channel 9, something about, is that Frankenstein?
Oh.
Anyways, everybody, thank you so much for listening in.
Yep.
I am Harlan Leong.
I am John Lee.
And we've been your Canyon's Creative Cast
hosts. We're still learning.
Thank you so much for watching. Yeah, we are. It's our first time, guys. Okay, Listen, I know this is a bit more of like we're rough. We're here. We're going to get refined. Give us like 16 to 17 weeks.
Think of this as a rough
then maybe
sketch,
a few
if
more
you will.
after that. A rough sketch of a beautiful, beautiful picture.
Mm-hmm.
And without further ado, you have yourselves a great week, CCC. We'll see you on Wednesday, and hopefully this Friday we'll even have an in-person movie.
Yep.
Where you can invite your friends and load on in to Mentry 305. And don't forget, Wednesdays, 12 to 3 in the TLC. Thank you all so much for watching, or listening. And we will see you next time. Good night.
Goodbye.